Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about my pull plans for the month of November for global DFFOO. Now we're going to be using the slides that were shown during the community live stream yesterday as reference for the characters that we are going to be briefly going over. And of course I'll let you guys know if I'm going to be throwing tickets, gems, or whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. And of course I'm curious to know what your plans are going to be. So if you guys want to let me know who are you going to be pulling for, who you're going to be skipping down in the comments section below, so that way I can read your guys' comments after like a day or so and see what your plans are going to be. So but yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with Minwu, which is a character that many players are very hyped for and are excited to pull for good reasons. I mean, like he is very much a very solid character for what he actually does. Like he is like the god of traps at this point, because like he initiates a lot of damage with those traps, and especially if you have his FR and especially if you have his BT, because his BT makes it so that way his traps pretty much trigger twice, which is pretty nuts. So like you can definitely deal a very consistent amount of damage with Minwu. So Minwu is very solid. He is a strong character. He is able to heal. He does have party ores and whatnot. He is able to party holy enchants. So for anybody who is picky about the whole elemental lockouts things and whatnot, I should mention that he is able to party holy enchants. But other than that though, I mean, like he is a very solid character. When it comes to his FR conditions, the percentages on his FR is not high, and it's only like 5% for each of the two. So and that also includes like off-turn triggers as well, which is why whenever his traps go off, it does increase the HP damage bonus. And with the amount of traps that he does hit the enemy with, yeah, it's a pretty consistent amount. So like over time, throughout the fight, and depending on the type of like boss that you're going up against, or just depending on the type of like fight that you are encountering, Minwu can definitely increase that HP damage bonus pretty quickly with the amount of traps that he has. So for me myself, I will be pulling for his kit again. He was very much a very fun character to use, and those traps are no joke. Like they can definitely dish out some pretty good damage overall. And yeah, so he in my opinion is definitely worth picking up. Locke is going to be the other BT character that is going to be released alongside with Minwu. Locke, he's going to be getting his force enhancements. He's going to be getting a rework, which gives him additional uses to his skills, and HP dumps as well. And also the one kind of like little thing to note as well is that they did decide to give him instant turn rate with his most powerful attack, the Genji Glove X Master Scrolls attack, which deals like 8 HP dumps, which of course, you know, can be very nasty while force time is active. But the whole like excuse me, the whole instant turn rate on his powerful attack, to me, I feel like I am a little bit indifferent on that, and only for a few reasons. One reason is that if you're going to be relying on his BT effect, having that instant turn rate, it could actually hurt the duration of said BT effect. The other thing is going to be you know, depending on if you have force time active or not, the fact that you are pretty much like forced to use Locke on the next turn after you use his most powerful attack could actually hurt the HP damage bonus, or just like whatever like type of setup you are trying to do. So like Locke, even though he does get a pretty good upgrade and whatnot, he does get his force enhancement, etc. In a way, like you kind of have to like plan out how you use him, especially if you do have a force time active, because like you don't want to waste any turns while the force time is active, and like two, like you want to, you know, just make sure that you are using him like correctly, and like you want to make sure that you know like what, like you want to use him the smart, Like you want to be smart about how you use them. So like, but like overall though, like the rework and everything like that, and what he got, and his like unique mechanic with his BT effect, making it so that if you fall below 50% HP, you go right back up to 50%. He does not have last stand on his BT effect, if I'm not mistaken, and also his BT effect does make it so that the party's brave attacks now ignore defense, and you cannot be broken too, which Locke can actually be a character that could actually be used for the part 2 Shinryu fight against Benevelza. So that's he could be an option for that as well. But there's another character we'll talk about here in just a second. But overall, like Locke's, he's all right. I mean, like he's not anything compared to like some of like the recent DPS characters that were just released onto Global. He's an option for those who are curious as to whether or not you should pull for him. For me, I would say you could probably hold off on Locke. Especially because defense ignore you're not really going to need anytime soon, and there are many characters that do have defense ignore built into their kit within their skills. So but yeah, Locke is okay, at least for at the moment, until he gets like an FR like later down the line, which hasn't happened yet. Vanille, she does get a rework as well. She gets like additional HP dumps and all that good stuff. She is a Dispeller. She does inflict a trap as well onto the enemy. It's nothing like crazy compared to like what Minwu has, but like she is able to inflict a trap. But she's not a bad character whatsoever. So and then Shadow DPS. He does have evasion within his kit. He does have his he does have Interceptor to give him additional HP dumps after his skill usage, which is nice. So he's all right. Cisne, she does follow-ups after herself, or after anybody deals an HP attack onto the enemy, which those follow-ups are actually pretty nice, especially now that she has force enhancements. Then yeah, those follow-ups are going to be much much-higher, and if you have ultimate weapon, that's even better. Nine's a tank, so I mean, yeah, that's self-explanatory. He's a tank, so but yeah, that pretty much covers like the first batch of characters. Next up is going to be Vaan. Now Vaan is going to be getting his brand new FR and a rework. His rework is very nice in my opinion. Like when I say very nice, I mean like it's nice. His FR is actually a pretty solid FR in my opinion, and I actually like he's actually one of like my top 10 favorite FRs, because like when it comes to his conditions, like they are like very easy to meet. So whenever you use his FR, he actually grants free ability use to the party, and also grants the party with HP damage up and HP damage cap up, which is very nice. So with his conditions, whenever a party member except Vaan uses an ability that does not consume a skill, it increases by 40%, which again, Vaan is able to provide free ability use to everybody, and that lasts for 2 turns. So like, yeah, I mean, like, what else can you ask for? That's an easy 40% to anybody. 60% increase whenever Vaan uses an ability that doesn't consume a skill use, and a 20% increase whenever a party member's brave is greater than or equal to 20% of max brave at the end of their turn. So yeah, very easy conditions to meet, and Vaan pretty much helps in like meeting all of them, so that's not going to be an issue. The last one, I mean, like you can easily like use like what do you call it? What's her name? Iroha's LD call ability, so that way you're able to retain 20% of your brave after HP attacks, so that can actually help you out with that condition. And he recently just got his FR boards, and as you can see here, like the percentages to his FR actually got increased by like 10%. And I actually just uploaded a gameplay of me using him, and he is disgusting. like he didn't get like a rework or anything like that, but like he is just like straight up nasty, and like I love it. It's awesome. So yeah, no, Vaan with what he actually got with his rework and his FR, in my opinion, it's definitely a very strong FR to have, and I am gonna be pulling falling for his FR once again. Plus, Vaan is going to be helping me a lot, especially with the upcoming Benevelza fight, where Hope is going to be getting his FR, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Now, Edge and Dark Knight Celes are going to be getting their force enhancements unlocked. Edge party, he provides the party with evasion via EX buff. He has self evasion as well. Dark Knight Celes, he does consume party's HP with his what I think it's his excuse me, self HP, not party. Excuse me, I'm thinking about a little way later down the line. But no, he does consume his HP so that he is able to deal his skills and whatnot. He is able to launch. He is a dark element character, so like he's alright. But later down the line, when he gets his FR and BT, he becomes nasty. But like I will be throwing tickets at his FR, at Vaan's FR, and hopefully I can get it once again because I already have his BT and whatnot. Next up is actually going to be Hope. Hope with his FR like becomes a stupid, insane FR charger. Because like, you know, his skill 1 and skill 2 is able to charge up the gauge. The thing is though, like while you have Hope's FR active, the HP damage bonus can actually be increased by a very high amount. So if we take a look at his FR and his conditions and whatnot. So whenever you use his FR, it does grant the physical damage resist and magic damage resist buff to the party for 8 turns. It grants speed up by 35% to the party for 8 turns. It does inflict that D-Shell debuff to all targets for 6 turns. His FR does have instant turn rate as well. And he does recover 1 use of his skill 1 and his skill 2, which is nice. Now, when it comes to his FR conditions, a 20% increase whenever the party member, except for Hope, recovers Brave to the party. A 40% increase whenever Hope recovers Brave to the party except self. And a 30% increase whenever a party member's turn passes while the party has greater than or equal to 13 buffs or higher. Now, like I said, Hope is able to increase the HP damage bonus much higher at 100% plus very, very easily, which means that let's say if like you wanted to use like Enacross like with a high HP damage bonus already active can easily deal some like hefty damage, and I've seen plenty of JP players do that whenever she got her rework and her FR later down the line. So you know, that's something that, you know, that's kind of like a team comp like example or like a pairing that you can actually use with Hope. But like Hope overall in general, like he does get a very solid rework in my opinion. If you take a look at the rework real quick, let's see, his skill 2 gets instant turn rate. His LD ability, he now starts off with the D-Shell debuff inflicted to all enemies for 4 turns. And then when it comes to his LD ability, and now it is now 6 HP dumps. It increases party's HP heal to 80% of max HP. And it does increase the HP overflow to 130% of max HP. And now deals full HP damage, increases Brave in between HP attacks, increases party's Brave as well. And then the other thing that I wanted to show was going to be his let's see here, his EX. So his EX got a very at least like his overhead got a very stupid amount of party auras. So as you can see right here, party max Brave up, attack stolen max Brave overflow up, HP damage up, Brave gains up, Brave damage resist up, and HP damage resist up all get added when Hope is able to get to his C90. And you can see the percentages here are some very good percentages. So like Hope, aside from like his like supportive auras that he provides, his defensive auras as well, alongside with his offensive and defensive auras and whatnot, and a very strong FR, he is definitely a character that should not be overlooked. He is also able to inflict the enemies with that magic resist down debuff, the D-Shell debuff, making it so that way any characters who deal magic damage will be dealing weakness damage. So like overall though, like Hope is a very solid character, and especially with his FR, it's like it's good. It's definitely worth it in my opinion to pick up his FR. And even if you do miss on his FR, just having his kit overall up to like LD is still good enough in my opinion. Kefka is going to be the other character that's going to be featured on the on Hope's release, because there will be 2 banners on it. So Kefka, he's just a straight up debuffer, and that's pretty much all you need to know about Kefka. Like, I guess like one of the debuffs is that he has like HP silence and whatnot. So that, you know, it's Kefka. So Papalimo is going to be getting force enhancements alongside with Kefka. So, and you know, Papalimo, he does deal fire and ice damage. So he's pretty much like a straight up DPS with capabilities of like getting like free skills and like instant turn rate and all that good stuff. So overall though, pretty solid banner. But for me though, I will be pulling for Hope's FR, and I will be throwing some tickets at his banner. Next up is going to be Celes. Now with Celes is a very I guess you could say like with her her BT and her FR, like I love her BT, and like she gets a very good amount with her BT and whatnot. But real quick, we'll take a look at her FR. When it comes to her FR, it does inflict the Magitech Ice Block debuff to all targets for 6 turns upon usage, which I do believe is her. Yes, it is her. What do you call it? Her. I guess like a counter attack. Her trap counter attack, which triggers after the enemy's turn. After an inflicted enemy's turn, it triggers a magic ice block. So the other thing is going to be let's see here. Her FR conditions. So a 5% increase whenever a party member except for Celes uses an ice attack, and this also includes off-turn triggers. A 25% whenever Celes uses an ice attack, and this also includes off-turn triggers. Excuse me, I like spaced out for a second. A 20% increase whenever a party member absorbs brave damage, which we'll get into here in just a second, and then a 20% increase whenever Celes attacks an enemy targeting herself. So like this is definitely more so for Celes, definitely. But the condition where the party is able to absorb brave damage. So like aside from Celes being able to absorb magic brave damage, the thing about Celes's BT effect, which I really love, is that all enemies brave damage becomes magic brave damage, and then guess what? Celes is able to absorb magic brave damage, which in turn is going to like pretty much just is easily just going to like give her just brave, so that whenever she counterattacks, like it's gonna be like it's pretty much gonna be at cap damage. So it's a very I like her BTFA. It's pretty nice. Aside from that, she provides the party with brave damage up, HP damage up, brave gains up, HP damage resist up, and then HP damage cap up. So it's a very solid BT effect in my opinion. It's definitely worth chasing for. In terms of like, I guess you could say like investment wise, I would say that her BT is definitely like the biggest priority here, because like you want to be able to take advantage of like of what her BT effect does offer. Yeah, her FR, you know, even though it does have ways for her teammates to be able to help with the HP damage bonus, in my opinion, I feel like her FR is definitely more so for herself, and that's pretty much it. But that's just my opinion, though. Yeah, I myself will be pulling for Celeste's kit once again. I love the kit. She is a very strong tank. She becomes a much stronger tank, and that FR and especially her BT just adds more on top of it. So like, she is definitely worth it in my opinion for her being a magical absorb tank. Zidane is going to be released alongside with Celes. which he is going to be getting a rework and whatnot, which I do believe is just going to be like more HP dumps, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a look at it real quick. So his EX ability will get an increase in Brave Potency, higher Brave Recovery, in between HP attacks, and higher splash damage. His LD ability, higher Stolen Max Brave Overflow, higher Brave Recovery in between HP attacks, and then the Place to Call Home now adds an increased Brave by 10% of the HP damage dealt per turn. So, and that's pretty much going to be it for the rework. But like, for those who may not know, Zidane, he is able to delete turns and whatnot. If he does break the target, which you can't break the target back to back, like you gotta space it out. But like, if he does break the target, then he is able to delete set targets, turn and whatnot. So like, overall, not a bad character. I have seen JP players use his kit in some Shinryu fights and whatnot. I have seen some players actually like make Zidane work very well. And then when it comes to like force enhancements, unlock Kadaj, Aiko, and Waka. Kadaj, he's a debuffer with gold frame debuffs. Aiko, she is able to pretty much like revive the party if they get knocked out via her overhead, as long as you have stacks on that overhead. And then Waka is able to inflict a debuff that is a little bit of RNG on said debuff, which has like 3 different things depending on like which one you get. But like I said, it's RNG based. So like, you'll get 1 out of the 3, and it changes after the enemy's turns, if I'm correct on that. Next up is going to be Aranea. Now she's going to be getting a rework and her FR. Aranea is actually the last character to be getting her C90, oddly enough. So Aranea, if you take a look at her FR real quick, if I can type her name correctly. We'll take a look at her reworking in a second. So her FR. So basically, she inflicts the Vital Crusher debuff to all targets. She grants Overclock to herself for 4 turns. And then once you jump into the FR and whatnot, so with the FR, it self-delays enemy on break when dealing critical damage, party HP damage up, and then HP damage cap up. Now, when it comes to the HP damage bonus, 40% increase whenever a party member delays a target, which Aranea is able to do, and a 30% increase whenever a party member deals critical brave damage, which, if I'm not mistaken, whenever you attack an enemy with this debuff, that a critical brave damage resist down, just like in general, it just makes it so that your brave damage becomes critical brave damage. So that condition can easily be met. But like Aranea's FR, it's solid. It's not like the greatest like thing ever or anything like that, but like, there are plenty of characters that is able to like delay targets and whatnot. Her FR, in my opinion, is definitely it's more so for herself. There are characters that is able to meet both conditions like super easily without like having any issues. Take example like Dorgann, who just released not too long ago. He has delay within his kit, so like you can easily work with that. There are other characters. Let's see, Sabin, Leo. Let's see here. Tifa does have delay with her EX. Like, there's plenty of characters that is able to delay or has an ability to be able to delay. When it comes to her rework pretty much makes it so that she just deals more HP attacks, which is great, which is what she needed for quite a while now, because she has been like, benched for God knows how long. She does gain additional uses within her skills. She does start off with her Magitech Lance, for 6 turns, which is great. Her LD ability 5 HP domes, which is great. So like overall, she pretty much like gets like brung up to like where everybody else is at currently in the game. So like overall, not a bad FR in my opinion. Like Aranea, even though I don't really see too many JP players like use her, but obviously I'm not gonna go based just off of that. But like overall in general, she can definitely be of of some use in my opinion. Is it an FR that I necessarily need? Probably not. I may throw some tickets at her banner, but I think I'm probably going to hold off this time. I did pull for her in JP, but I think I may actually hold off on using it this time. Or using it and pulling for it this time on my global account. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I may throw like about 100 tickets or something like that. Maybe 200 at the maximum, depending on how resources look and whatnot. For her FR weapon. Katif and Fran are also on the banner. Katif, remember, he is able to increase your brave per hit. So pretty much like a mini brave recovery per brave hit, which is nice. Fran is able to inflict a debuff, which that debuff has some nice stuff in it, which can benefit the team and whatnot. And then finally, the last character, which is the other new character that we're going to be getting, is going to be Dorgann. Now, Dorgann, in my opinion, Dorgann is actually pretty good. Like Dorgann, whenever Dorgann or anybody on the team breaks the enemy, he actually triggers a follow-up. Now, one thing to note about that follow-up is going to be that if he actually breaks while he is dealing that follow-up attack, he will actually trigger that follow-up attack again, which is actually pretty cool. So like you can actually get some pretty good damage out of him, and like you can actually pair him up pretty well with, let's say, like Sephiroth while his BT effect is active. Like, I mean, you can only imagine like what you can actually like get when pairing both of them. The other character I can think of right now would be Auden, because remember, Auden is able to break the enemy. So whenever Auden breaks, guess what? Dorgann is going to be triggering his follow-up attack. So like he in my opinion is not a bad character. Like I more so think that he is a pretty fun character. So if you take a look at like some of like the buffs and whatnot before we take a look at his FR. Some of the buffs, like to himself, provides like attack up, brave damage up, HP damage up. His debuff, his Severed Tree, which is from his EX ability. So this debuff right here, whenever inflicted onto the enemies, which let me see if I can find it. So this debuff right here pretty much makes it so that the enemy brave attacks deal 0 damage and the HP attack deals 0 damage. The only thing about that though is that debuff only lasts for 1 turn. So it's not something that, you can actually take advantage of. Unless you're like constantly breaking the enemy and like all of a sudden like they hit an HP threshold where they actually hit you, well then guess what? That debuff is going to actually trigger. So even though it does dispel after either effect triggers, which I'm not entirely sure if it would actually go off whenever an HP threshold gets triggered. I guess we'll find out. Actually, I may just mess around with him and see if that's the case. But it's a pretty neat debuff that he does inflict. He does deal wind damage, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe. He does not provide the party with wind enchant. So you would have to use like call abilities, which is part of his FR condition. So whenever his FR is active, when breaking or attacking a broken target, it does a self-reset break, and the party gains an HP damage up and an HP damage cap up. So a 20% increase whenever a party member breaks or attacks a broken enemy. 5% increase whenever a party member, except for Dorgann, uses a wind attack, and this also includes off-turn triggers. And a 25% increase when Dorgann uses a wind ability, and that also includes off-turn triggers. So yeah, the HP damage bonus can definitely go high, depending on like the amount of times that Dorgann's like follow-up attack actually does trigger. So like overall, Dorgann, in my opinion, he's a pretty solid character. He's definitely a very fun character to actually use, and you can actually do some crazy shenanigans with him. You can definitely get some very good numbers out of him. So for me, I'm probably going to pull for his kit again, just because like I really enjoyed using him. Is he a character that like you like need? Like, is he a must-have? No. But like he's more so like the character, like, you know, if you want to, you know, mess around, have a little fun, but actually have like a good character to do it with, then Dorgann is a pretty solid choice. Lise and Galoof are going to be getting force level enhancements. Lise is also going to be getting a rework as well. Lise does get a very solid rework. She is a DPS. She does provide some party OS as well. Galoof, I mean, I think by this point everybody know who Galoof is, but like Galoof is able to evade attacks and whatnot, at least evade physical melee and range attacks, really. And his counter attacks, which can trigger twice, because he does have two different ones, can actually deal some pretty good damage, especially while a force ability is active. So, but like overall though, pretty solid banner in my opinion, that releases alongside with Dorgann. So. But other than that though, guys, that's pretty much going to be it. I think I pretty much covered everything in this video and gave a somewhat brief description on some of the characters that are going to be coming out and all that good stuff. So do let me know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be. I'm curious to see what you guys are going to be pulling for. And yeah, so take care. I'll catch you guys in the next one.